So, you're in Maple, and you saw this guy with his flash jumps and his teleports, and you're like, whoa, I want to be that guy. Well, I'm here to talk to you about my favorite class, Phantom. So we're going to start off in his skills, you know. He's pretty cool. Start off in the beginner tab. Just hover over everything. You don't get this until like level 200. So, pretty nice. We have To the Skies. It lets you return to your airship. Airship is pretty sweet. You know, it's just like any other return ability. Then we have Shroud Walk, which lets you teleport in any direction up to 3 times, but it adds 1.5 seconds to the cooldown for each time you use it. So we have this ability right here. So let's go boom, boom, boom. And that's kind of a long cooldown, but it's really nice in like I don't know, Magnus and that sort of stuff. It doesn't have too much of a delay when you first use it, so you can go like boom to get out of the way really quick if you have good reflexes. Dexterity training is pretty nice. Skill swap. Okay, so this is one of Phantom's main abilities. It lets you steal skills, certain skills, not all of them, from certain explorer classes, like all explorers excluding Jet. It looks like this. Let me go find someone really quick so I can show you what it looks like when you steal a skill, if there's anyone around. Unfortunately, I can't steal from Kona, but I can probably steal from this Night Lord. So you open it up, and depending on which job you are and how many skill points you put into, it's called Impeccable Mentor, right there. You can steal first job, second job, third job, fourth job, and then up to hypers, which is pretty nice. You can't steal every hyper, but you can steal some. Pretty good. And next on the skill list is where you manage all of your skills that you steal from other classes. So you have your first job here, second job, third job, fourth job, hypers. And I'll go over right now kind of the abilities that you want. These are just my personal preference. You can swap a bunch out if you want, but for first job it's pretty much gonna be like this. You have Magic Guard for early game training. With Junior Boogie and Magic Guard, it's pretty hard to die. Dark Side is really helpful for endgame bosses like Magnus. Like when you're doing Hard Magnus and Damien, you can basically absorb the falling balls or the Damien's little red balls. You can kind of jump in front of your teammates and absorb them from that, which is pretty nice. Energy Bolt, don't remember how to say his name. I think it's Arcarium, this guy right here. He summons guys that can only be damaged by magic damage, and being a physical class, not really a thing. So Energy Bolt's pretty nice for that because it's okay. It's not the best skill in the world, but it'll do. And then Haste is just a party skill. I basically have that just to round out. You can substitute that for other things, but there's not a whole lot of good skills for first job. Second job, you kind of get more party stuff. So you get Bless. Rage is probably the best one for Phantom because 30 attack, 30% damage absorption, and damage reflect is all really nice to have. And you can also grab like Iron Will or Hyper Body. Hyper Body is really nice if you have like a Demon Avenger in your party, so it helps them with their range. And then you get to third job, which is probably the most important because you get Cross Surge. And Cross Surge is like your best skill. So like, look over here, I got 2.2 to 2.4 mil range. And then you just use Cross Surge. Boom. 2.6 to 2.9. Easy. That's just good stuff right there. And then Arrow Platter, I don't use this skill a whole lot, but it can be nice in Golux. If you want to, when you're clearing the gem at the top of the head, you can put it on the bottom platform to help clear out the mobs that spawn there. Although with the introduction of Ace in the Hole, it's kind of obsolete now because Ace in the Hole kind of takes care of all of those enemies. But it's still useful for like training and stuff if you want to have that on a big map. It can clear out part of the map while you clear out the other part. And then Holy Symbol is Holy Symbol. I mean, extra EXP. It's kind of, yeah, no. We understand why we take Holy Symbol. Fourth job is probably the most diverse because you get a lot of good abilities. Like you can steal Showdown, which is pretty nice. I personally like Crossbones just for the extra damage boost. So if we look here again, we have 2.2 to 2.4. With Cross Surge, 2.6 to 2.9. And then with the introduction of Crossbones, 3.2 to 3.6 mil range, which is pretty nice. Basically getting extra mil range just from those two skills alone, which I think is worth it. I mean, you can also introduce Final Cut into all that, and I will show you what that does in a second. Because when you change skills, it actually has a little bit of a load time. You can't use them right away, which is kind of unfortunate because in bossing, you may want to have certain skills active, and then you want to go right back to training, and you kind of have to wait like 30 seconds or something like that to a minute. And again, you can always change these out. Like if you can one shot in the place you're training, Showdown is probably a good idea because it gives you extra EXP and drop rate. Granted, you don't have the hypers that go along with it, but it's still nice. And then Cannoneer's Bazooka Blast, the single line mob, the horizontal mobbing skill. That one's really good too if you can also one shot. And then we get on to the hypers. Bullseye Shot is probably the best hyper you can steal for Phantom because it gives you crit rate, crit damage, monster ignore, and just straight damage itself. And you can see here, sitting at 83 base. If we buff up, I think, yeah, sitting at 93. And then with boom there, get up to 100% crit rate, which is very important, and I will talk about crit rate in a second with the introduction of another skill. Oh, and since Final Cut is active now, we can look over here. 5 mil. Pretty nice.
Peace for a wreck.
Pretty cool. It's pretty nice to have. Final Cut, not my favorite. I like the consistency of Crossbones, but if you're looking to burst down, that's about what you want. But yeah, Bullseye is like your overall rounded, like this is kind of the one you want all the time. And then we have Sacro Sanctity, which is Paladin's hyper. It makes you invincible. Just straight invincibility, like you can't be targeted, you can't be damaged. In Damien, nothing can touch you. It's the arguably the best get out of jail free card in the game. Yeah. Yeah, so you just kind of cycle through these. It has a really long cooldown though, so it's basically 30 seconds, can't be touched, and then you kind of want to switch back over to bullseye shot for the rest of the boss, because it's probably not gonna come up again. And you can also switch these out. I know some people use Fire Poison Mage's Hyper, the fire aura, because it can proc your passive, which I will talk about later again. But yeah, these are the two I go with because I feel like they are the best in most situations. And all of this is highly customizable, which is a huge appeal for Phantom. Okay, let's see what else is down here. We have Link skills. I have decent Mystic Door. Oh, Judgment Draw. Also goes back into your passive. This thing over here, when it fills, I'll go over that in a second, actually. And then I'm on reboot, so you have that. Nothing really else here that needs to be talked about, so we're going to move on to first job. First job, you get your first attack. I will go back over here and show you this ability. It's okay. It's a 2-line. Let me take this away. Yeah, so you can see it does 2 lines. It's fairly strong. Phantom's not known for his high percent attacks, but you know, it's doing okay. There are worse first job skills, so we also have Impeccable Mentor, which leads back into access to these abilities. So right now I have Dark Sight. So see, I can now walk through enemies, I don't get hit. I can flash jump, but I can't attack. Attacking breaks Dark Sight. I wish there was a better. And then we have Phantom Swiftness, which is your flash jump. It's pretty good. It can get you pretty far. It also lets you change directions, which is nice. Unfortunately, it doesn't have like a vertical mobility option, but. And then we just have Featherfoot, which is extra 20% avoidability, which is pretty nice, don't get me wrong. And then we get into second job. You get Calling Card, which is your new, just like attacking skill. It's pretty nice. It attacks pretty fast. Yeah, it doesn't hit a whole lot of mobs. I think it's 4. Yeah, 4 mobs. Impeccable Mentor 2, which gives you access to these skills. We have Melee Cartus. I don't like this skill. I don't know what use it has. I mean, I think it pushes enemies, yeah, which can be nice in some bosses. I don't really see the need because it does like 1 line, and I don't think it gives you iframes, so I guess it's technically a mobbing skill because it hits 10 enemies, but not really worth it. And then we get into probably the most important skill of Phantom, Carte Blanche, which is this thing over here. So what this does, with each critical attack you hit, it produces a card. So you see the cards that are flying out of me, so like those right there. Yeah, those things. Whenever I hit a crit, they fly out, and at this level, it has a 60% chance to appear, and it does 160 damage. So I guess this is technically like Phantom's shadow partner. Not really a shadow partner, but it helps you do additional damage, and it's basically your biggest damage dealer out of your entire kit. At later levels, it gets pretty strong, and with the introduction of 5th job and the boost nodes, it actually can do a fair amount of damage. So that's pretty nice. It's my favorite skill that Phantom has. Then we have Cane Mastery, Cane Booster, which is your booster skill. Raises it pretty good. And then just Devil's Luck, Permanent Luck. Pretty nice. Third job, we get Bastion, Balsan, which is a kind of a better version of second and first job. It hits more times. It has a fairly big hitbox, so you can kind of jump and attack different platforms. So if you have mobility down, like at Copper Drakes, it's pretty easy to hit 2 platforms at once with this. So as long as you're on top of it, it works pretty well. Impeccable Mentor 3, you get access to third job, which is the most important. And then we get Final Feint, which is our own door, like the priest's bishop's door, which prevents death. This one works for us. It looks like,
Nothing can stop me.
I think it has a really cool design. And then upon death, takes you to 100% HP and makes you invisible, but it has an 1800 second cooldown. So pretty hard, but it can literally save your life in situations, and it makes bossing smoother. It also has the added bonus of increasing your luck again, which is pretty nice. Bad Luck Ward increases max MP and HP and elemental resistance, abnormal status resistance. Pretty good overall. You know, not bad for a self buff. Then we have Lore, which used to be an active, but is now a passive, which just gives you 40 attack power, which is nice, you know? Now you don't have to worry about buffing it, it's pretty good. We have Mist Mask, which is additional 30% avoidability, so base out of second and third job, you have 50% avoidability chance, which is pretty nice. Then we have Rapier Wit. I also don't understand this skill. It might give you iframes. It looks like that. I can't say that I get it. Yeah, it might give you iframes, which is pretty nice, and it's another dash, but it has so much back lag that I don't think it's really useful. But I haven't experimented enough with it because fourth job skills are just too good. Doesn't even do that much damage, so I don't know. This one's up for debate whether or not it's good or not. I haven't played around with it enough, so. Piercing Vision, you know, crit rate, final damage. I mean, it's pretty good. And yeah, that's it for that one. And then we get on to fourth job, which is where you get all the fun skills. This is my favorite skill in MapleStory, probably. It's not the strongest, but it's a hurricane, and you can move with it. It hits 6 enemies 3 times for a whopping 110% damage. Woo! It doesn't have the highest damage in the world, but it's fun. So it hits really fast, and it basically, with 100% crit that I don't have at the moment, basically throw a card with at hurricane speed, which is pretty nice. So boom, look at that. Ooh, so good. It's super fun. If you're on a flat map, or like a map with only 2 platforms, like this, you can hold, go down like that, all the way down here, and you can fall, and then just turn around, go all the way to this side of the map, go like, and then shadow walk up here, and then continue on. With good mechanics, it's basically like you don't stop attacking. So that's really nice. I like, arguably my favorite skill. So plus it's just sweet. I mean, look at the cape that you get behind you. That's awesome. And then we get Impeccable Mentor 4, which right now is Crossbones. We get this line right here. Pretty good. And we also get access to an ability called Pombre, which is that. This gives you iframes, which is really nice. In Lotus, in the first stage, you can dodge the lasers with this. It actually gives you probably a fair amount of iframes. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. And it does pretty good percent damage as well. It's probably one of your highest percent damages. Sitting at 450. It also hits 10 enemies. It ignores weapon defense. It's just a good thing. And for some reason, it also increases Rapier Wit's damage. I don't get it, but sure, why not? Then we have... I'm not gonna butcher that name, but it's just clean 30% damage, 30% ignored defense. Just good stuff overall, you know. And then we have Tempest, which is another mobbing skill, which has a higher hitbox. It's also a key down skill. So, looks like this. And the hitbox grows bigger as it goes, and it does 3 attacks, hits 8 enemies, pretty good, attacks really fast. In Horntail, this skill rocks. So, yeah. Overall, another good tool to have in your kit. And we have Kane Expert. I'm not going to butcher that name either, but you can steal buffs from mobs and bosses. So if they have an attack buff, you get 40 attack. If they have damage ignore, you receive less damage. They have damage reflect, you reflect damage. And then if they're invincible, you become invincible instead. It's really nice, again, in Horntail, because that's mostly where I use it. Chaos Horntail, you know, weapon reflect, damage reflect, that sort of thing. You just take that, and instead of dying, they die, which is pretty sweet. Maple Warrior, obviously, it's just, you know, Maple Warrior. And then Hero's Will, which is, you know, remove abnormal status effects. Pretty good. So that's 1st through 4th. We have 5th job. And all the boost nodes. We're going to come in here. We have Luck of the Draw, which is Phantom's first personalized 5th job skill. So it's really nice. It has a big text box, but for 6 seconds and the cost of 1000 MP, you deal 276 damage per card. And technically only has, it says 1 attack, but not really. You also take 15% less damage, which is pretty nice. But unfortunately, it doesn't... Oh, did I miss a skill? Oh, Carte Noir. Sorry about that. Yeah. It's basically this skill, but 100% chance on a crit, and it does more damage. Pretty nice. And it gives you more avoidability. So, there's that. Unfortunately, when you're using Luck of the Draw, it won't trigger either of those, but you'll see why that's not a big deal in a second. And then at the end, you get a card that pops up in the middle of the screen, which has a different effect depending on what the card looks like. So if you have the red cross, it increases HP and HP recovery. If you have the tree, less damage taken, hourglass, cooldowns, swords, final damage, crescent moon, you get all of them. And crescent moon has the lowest percent chance to show up from what I found. I know it doesn't say that they have a percent, but that's what it feels like most of the time. So we have, this is what it looks like. I mean, that's pretty awesome, right? Like, look at all those cards. Each one deals 200 and something percent, 276? Yeah, 276% damage, does tons and tons of damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't proc Carte Noir or anything, so that's kind of a bummer, but that's okay. And then we have Ace in the Hole, which I talked about a little bit earlier. So, Ace in the Hole bounces around the map and deals damage to enemies, bounces around 15 times, hopefully, and then after the 15th time, it does that, and it does big damage. It actually has the highest percent that Phantom has at 1200% damage on 12 enemies, which is pretty nice. Just stop all that. So yeah. You know. Venom Bird, and then we have a bunch of different non-specific fifth job skills. Like Last Resort is just the Thief's one, which is very, very good for damage. So since all of my abilities are on cooldown, let's look here again. So we have actually, yeah, okay.
In the blink of an eye.
I'm gonna buff up so you can see how big of a range difference it is. Remember what we started at.
For Aria.
Look at that. That's crazy. I don't even know if that's all of them. Pretty sure that's all of them. Looks like it. 5.6, 6.2. I mean, terms and conditions, which is Angelic Buster's link skill. You know, maybe that's cheating. I don't know, but 4.9, 5. I mean, look at that. That's just beautiful. And yeah, so that's why I love Phantom. Just all of that. And I will go do. Actually, we have one of these guys. I guess I can go show off for this. Where are you at? There he is. So I'm gonna show off the fifth job skill, Luck of the Draw. Boom. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah. So thank you guys for hanging out with me and learning more about Phantom. If you have any questions, leave it down in the description. I will help answer any questions you have regarding the Phantom class, any mechanical things that I can help with. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in the next video.